another episode of Win with Glenn, where today in studio we're going to be talking about marriage.
Welcome to the Win with Glenn video podcast, where Glenn Henderson and special guests will give you the tips, insight, and tools you need to grow, develop your business and career. Go with us as we dive into the best practices and rock-solid principles that will elevate you and bring proven success. Now, here's Glenn Henderson.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Win with Glenn. Marriage is so critical and key to all of life. It is actually the foundation of life that I needed to draw upon a subject matter expert, the guru, the Yoda, the man that knows. He has the keys to the kingdom, Verdun Woods, who has just authored a book, Vernon, that you shared with me, and it excited me. Marriage is just so close to my heart, and I do appreciate you agreeing to be here with us, so welcome.
Thank you, and it's a privilege to be here, and I'm honored. Thank you.
Congratulations on the book, Thrives.
Well, a marriage that thrives.
A marriage that thrives, and I know you said that it was it's in increments, and it's THRIVES, and it is acronyms. Tell me and tell our audience why you wrote the book. I had a couple of questions because I've been around this space. The audience may not know, maybe you know, but years ago there was many years ago, this thing called Marriage Encounter. Do you ever remember Marriage Encounter?
Remember it.
And I participated in Marriage Encounter, and that was early on in my marriage. Regina and I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but we spent a couple of years together unmarried. And then after we got saved.
Right.
Saved. I mean, we got saved, and then we had
real saved.
Yeah, we really got saved, and then we got married, and I just, we had that part really where we weren't married, and then I said, this is serious. This ring is important, and the reason why I wanted you here and to help with us, we've been all over the board. We've had businesses and many things that have happened in our lives. And the marriage has had a lot of pressures, and why I think the work that you're doing is so important. There's a lot of books out there on marriage. There's a lot of voices out there on marriage, and so I'm thought that having you come in and help us and on this platform and with our audience, to have you come in, especially with Thrives. First off, what makes Thrives? Tell us the foundation of Thrives and how you got there, and then secondly, I'm going to ask you, or you can go right into it, but what makes it different from the many other books and voices out there? So Thrives, talk to us about Thrives.
So giving proper acknowledgement.
Giving honor to God.
But also acknowledging all of the work, the book that I wrote builds upon a lot of those great works that are out there already. And so I felt on the one hand, humbled to be a voice in that space, but also inspired and motivated to say, God has given me a unique insight that I believe can contribute to the thought leadership on this topic. It started with just my own family background, my parents' marriages, my wife's parents' marriages, each of which lasted 17 years. And ended in divorce, separation and divorce. So the two of us entering our marriage easily could have been voted most likely to fail in marriage. And in fact, unfortunately, several of our siblings experienced marital separation and divorce, in a couple of cases, multiple times. As we entered marriage without a lot of ramp-up space, we only dated about 4 months before we married. And now we've been married 45 years. We would never recommend that process for our children, and we didn't. There was a lot more preparation that we could have and should have done on the front end. But we knew when we entered marriage, we need help. We need help. We had a spiritual foundation in our relationship with God. And so that
So hold on one second. So you both were saved?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because a lot of people, you said something there that we knew we needed help, and that, I think, in and of itself is some element, I'm guessing, of either enlightenment, and I don't mean that in an essence, but the mere fact that,
Self-awareness.
yeah, because a lot of people aren't even thinking about that. You know, we like one another, or we're attracted to one another. We just get married, and it never comes across we need help.
Sure.
So that in and of itself is an epiphany, I think. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, well, we recognized that there were some risk factors that we had going in.
Is it because of the
Parents,
where you-
marriages.
is that why you said we needed help, or did you realize we're in trouble and we need help?
No, we weren't in trouble. We were in love.
Okay.
Which might be equivalent to being in trouble, because sometimes that
Love is blind.
that affects your perspective. But no, we didn't encounter, and in fact, honestly, over 45 years, we've never had any major crisis point in our marriage, and I attribute that largely to that spiritual foundation that we entered marriage in, and our recognition that, hey, if we don't tap into this source of strength and power, it's easy to get self-absorbed and consumed with, our own self-centered nature, and the end is predictable if we were to go that route. But on a practical basis, we also knew we needed to learn from people who understood this space far better than we did. And so we attended lots of, you mentioned Marriage Encounter. We didn't do Marriage Encounter, but we were part of multiple times with a ministry called Family Life Ministries, which emerged out of Campus Crusade for Christ. And we attended this experience called the Weekend to Remember multiple times. In the first 13 years of our marriage, we attended it 3 times. I guess we just didn't get it the first time. But we did things. We attended conferences, workshops, read books, and also we found couples gravitating toward us because we had this anointing on our lives and this empathy toward other couples that just seemed to draw other people to us. So early on in our marriage, for probably 40 years of the 45 years that we've been married, we've also been coaches, counselors in some informal capacity with other couples. We also were gravitated toward, hosting overnight retreats and conferences and events, workshops and so forth to help strengthen and undergird others' marriages.
Right.
Along the way, as an ordained elder in my church, I was often called upon to counsel couples. And I saw a reoccurring theme of couples coming with the primary drive to just sustain or survive within marriage. And, I was playing defense with these couples. I call it divorce prevention, right? And it was often just with the goal of just, stabilizing them, getting them to a level point. And at a certain point, it began to grieve my heart, and I believe it grieves the heart of God as well, that couples were missing the point, that marriage wasn't just to be a survival test, but there was a higher aspirational goal that
It's
God
sort of like
intended.
that old song, "Let's Stay Together."
Right, yeah. Yeah, staying together is not, I know people who stayed together
That's right.
for 40, 50 years, and they're miserable.
They're miserable.
They never divorced legally, but they long ago got divorced emotionally.
We'll return to the Win with Glenn podcast after this quick message. Join Glenn Henderson on a journey to break free from societal norms and start winning in life and business. Tune in to the Win with Glenn podcast on YouTube for practical tips and insights that will elevate your success.
Hey everybody, this is Glenn Henderson. If you didn't know, you now do know that I have a new book that has been released. It is called Awaken, Breaking Free from Societal Conformity to Unmasked Truth. I want you to get your copy. You can find it on Amazon. You can get it in an e-copy. All the other outlets is available. Get it, read it. I think it'll be a blessing to you.
Glenn Henderson's latest book, Awaken, available now on Amazon and other major book retailers. Awaken dives into the real issues behind the problems we face today: wars, immigration, voting, racism, and more. Glenn invites you to explore how information is weaponized and how we accept it without questioning, keeping us in a delusion. This book challenges you to break free from societal conformity, unmask the truth, and discover independent thinking for real positive change. Awaken will illuminate areas of your thoughts, ideas, and conclusions that you may not have realized you needed to awaken. Visit Amazon or glennhenderson.com to order this book and awaken your journey to success today. And now we return to the Win with Glenn podcast.
Tribes came from is let's not just stay together,
Right.
but let's thrive.
Well, let's reach for God's highest and best for our relationship, especially because marriage is to be a mirror image of the relationship between Christ and the church. We are, as a couple, to operate in the image of God, and to a large extent, we weren't doing a great job. Not we as my wife and I, but those in the operating in the institution of marriage were not properly representing God's image of and relationship and unity between Christ and the church. Okay. Not only that, but not realizing his desire for our lives, that we not just have existence, but that we would have abundance in our lives. And that's Christ's agenda for his people. And it doesn't change because we got married. Okay. Abundance is for,
right.
The husband
John
and the wife.
10:10,
the
abundant
union.
life, right?
Exactly.
Is this your first book?
Yes.
Okay, so what makes Thrives different from everything else that's out there that you want to tell the audience?
Well, again, I think
why buy Thrives?
And it's a marriage that thrives. 7 keys to a lifetime of abundance. So along the way throughout the book, I'm attempting to share these biblically undergirded principles that collectively we have found and learned from our 45 years together have been factors that contributed to the flourishing of our relationship.
Okay.
The truth is that we don't have a perfect marriage. There's literally no such thing because we're very imperfect people. So the standard is not perfection. You can have a thriving marriage and still have issues between you and your spouse that you're working through, as my wife and I are still continuing to work through challenges and issues as a couple of 45 years together. But we can still say we are fruitful, we're productive, we're flourishing in various ways, and we're continually growing. Because the moment you stop growing, I think it's called you die.
Okay.
And so a thriving marriage is one that is continually vibrant and alive, and that's the message that we're trying to call couples to, a higher standard. I'm not suggesting that someone somewhere hasn't addressed that same thing, but I believe that this framework that is represented by this acronym Thrives enables me to articulate that clearly.
And I know it's not Thrives, it's a marriage that thrives.
Right, sure.
So as we wrap this up, and I very much appreciate you joining us because this is so critical to everything that we're doing. This book particularly, and what I like about it, and maybe you can have the last word on this, what I like about it, this book is very much foundational upon biblical principles and truths that have stood the test of time. So give us how you came about, if there's why specifically in that space, and just some of the tenets and principles that you've drawn upon. I know they're biblically principles, right?
Sure.
And so you and I spoke about this off air, that unapologetically, but that's another differential in the book. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I mean, when I coach couples, I have a level of confidence in what I'm coaching because of the content.
They're not opinions.
It's not my opinion, and I'm constantly vetting it against the truth of the Word of God. And if I feel like, hey, I'm off base here, I'm prayerfully approaching every coaching session with, asking God to teach us together collectively. So, I think I would sum it up in the word being on the offense, pursuing, as opposed to addressing this whole relationship called marriage from a defensive posture. I have shifted my approach and coaching and seen amazing results as through it, of having couples to see we're not just trying to defend against incoming missiles and attacks. We're taking preemptive first strikes against the kingdom of darkness and pursuing the will of God and the purposes of God for our lives and our relationships.
Well, I very much appreciate you being with us, and everyone here. We have some rich material that's coming. We got a rich individual that, what I like, you said unapologetically, and that is you're getting real life experience, you're getting truth that has been time tested, and now you have something, a marriage that thrives, and we're getting it from the subject matter expert, and I really appreciate you, and congratulations again on the book.
Thank you.
This has been Win with Glenn, and we'll see you on another installment where you win with Glenn.
Thank you for joining us for the Win with Glenn video podcast. Stay connected by following and subscribing to this podcast on these platforms. Join us every week as Glenn and special guests give you the tools you need to grow and have a successful business or career. Join Glenn Henderson on a journey to break free from societal norms and start winning in life and business. Tune in to the Win with Glenn podcast on YouTube for practical tips and insights that will elevate your success.
Hey everybody, this is Glenn Henderson. If you didn't know, you now do know that I have a new book that has been released. It is called Awaken, Breaking Free from Societal Conformity to Unmasked Truth. I want you to get your copy. You can find it on Amazon. You can get it in the e-copy. All the other outlets is available. Get it, read it. I think it'll be a blessing to you.
Glenn Henderson's latest book, Awaken, available now on Amazon and other major book retailers. Awaken dives into the real issues behind the problems we face today: wars, immigration, voting, racism, and more. Glenn invites you to explore how information is weaponized and how we accept it without questioning, keeping us in a delusion. This book challenges you to break free from societal conformity, unmask the truth, and discover independent thinking for real positive change. Awaken will illuminate areas of your thoughts, ideas, and conclusions that you may not have realized you needed to awaken. Visit Amazon or glennhenderson.com to order this book and awaken your journey to success today.